Insane doesn't even begin to describe it. Surreal, frightening, upsetting. One moment you're standing at your own front door. In the next, your entire life is ripped apart in less than a second. That's how Mary Jo Buttafuoco remembers. The day that nearly killed her, hand changed her forever. When Mary Jo first regained consciousness, she barely recognized herself. She weighed less than 80 pounds. Her face had been shattered. She later learned she had come within inches of death. What she didn't yet know was that her private nightmare was about to become a national obsession. May 19, 1992. Mary Jo turned toward her house, grabbed the screen door, and that's when it happened. There was no warning, no argument. Threat. She never saw a gun. She didn't feel fear or panic, just a sudden explosion of pain. At first, she honestly believed she'd been hit with a baseball bat. That's how powerful the impact was. The bullet entered just inches from her face. Powder burns showed how close the gun had been. There's still a dent near her ear where it passed. Doctors later told her that if she had turned her head even slightly, the bullet would have gone straight through her brain. Instead, it struck her jawbone and spiraled downward, sparing her life by pure chance. The damage, however, was permanent. To this day, Mary Jo has no feeling on the right side of her head, no hearing. Her carotid artery was severed. Her jaw was shattered. Sensation, she says, is like living with an open emptiness, something missing that never comes back. And yet she survived. She raised her children. She built a life. And she's grateful every single day that she lived, but survival was only the beginning. Because almost immediately, her trauma turned into entertainment. The story exploded across international headlines. A 17-year-old girl named Amy Fisher, quickly labeled the Long Island Lolita, was arrested for the shooting. The motive? An affair with Mary Jo's husband, Jo Buttafuoco? Suddenly, Mary Jo's pain became a media circus. Talk shows, tabloids, magazine covers, TV movies, even Hollywood jumped in. With actresses like Drew Barrymore and Alyssa Milano portraying Amy in dramatized versions of the story, and while Mary Jo lay in bed, gravely injured, watching cameras swarm her home, she noticed something that would haunt her for years. Her husband loved the attention. He talked to reporters, brought them pizza, gave interviews, thrived in the spotlight. As Mary Jo lay there, her face barely holding together, one thought kept repeating in her mind: he likes this. And she was right. Jo Buttafuoco continued to deny any relationship with Amy Fisher, despite overwhelming evidence and later convictions. Mary Jo never received what she says she needed most: a public apology, not just to her, but for exploiting a minor. With time and age, Mary Jo's perspective evolved. First, she couldn't accept the idea that Amy Fisher was also a victim. How could she be when she came to her home and pulled the trigger? But years later, with distance and reflection, Mary Jo acknowledged the truth. A 34-year-old man having sex with a 16-year-old girl is abuse. And Joey showed little concern for the devastation left behind. The lowest point came years after the shooting, when Mary Jo learned that Joey had been arrested again. It's time for soliciting a prostitute. That phone call shattered what little stability she had left. Overwhelmed by pain, betrayal, and exhaustion, she stood in her bathroom,
staring at a cabinet full of medications,
asking herself a devastating question. What did I survive for? The chaos never ended. The humiliation never stopped. She considered ending it all. Then, she thought about something even darker: taking her children with her, so they wouldn't be left alone in the madness. That's how desperate she was. That's how broken she felt. And then something stopped her. Her children. The realization that they needed her. That she could not abandon them became her turning point. It didn't erase the pain, but it gave her a reason to keep breathing, a reason to stay. Years later, she told her children the truth, not to burden them, but to explain how they saved her life. Their response wasn't anger. It was love, gratitude, and understanding. Today, at 70 years, old Mary Jo Buttafuoco is no longer defined by that moment. She's a motivational speaker, a survivor, and now she's reclaiming her voice through a new Lifetime movie. I Am Mary Jo Buttafuoco, where she serves as executive producer and narrator. This time, the story isn't about Joey and Amy, it's about her for decades, she says. She was lost in the background, reduced to an angry soundbite, while cameras shoved microphones in her face. Asking insensitive questions at the worst possible moments, she wasn't healed, she wasn't ready. She was traumatized, furious, and defensive, and the world judged her for it. Now, she speaks with clarity. She doesn't hide her sadness over what was stolen from her youth. Her peace, years spent in hospitals, surgeries, and emotional wreckage. But she fiercely protects the life she has now. Her children are grown, her grandchildren bring her joy. She lives simply, calmly, intentionally. She hasn't spoken to Joey in years. Her daughter cut ties with him entirely, calling him toxic. Her son maintains limited contact for business reasons. None of them even know where Joey lives now, and Mary Jo, she's at peace. Reliving the story isn't easy. It never will be. She knows there will always be critics telling her to get over it, but this isn't something you get over. This is her life. And if there's one message she wants people to hear, it's this. If you're going through hell, keep going, 'cause heaven really is on the other side.